the second week of the war, so about mid-March, sending intermediaries to the Iranians. Hey, let's get together and talk. How can we settle this? And Iran says, we don't have anything to talk to you about, period. I think what changed, what made yesterday possible, is the Chinese intervened, or the Chinese spoke to the Iranians and said, okay, let's give these knuckleheads another chance, but it's going to be on your terms. And Iran was very clear that these 10 items, these are our terms, which include we're going to continue to control the Strait of Hormuz. We're not giving that up. And the United States, at least to the Pakistanis and to the Chinese, said okay. Now, what Trump and company have been saying in public, it's like they live in an alternate universe. I couldn't believe the nonsense that was coming out of Hegseth and Kane's mouth this morning at their 8 a.m. press conference. It was one lie after another. But we've grown accustomed to that.
Larry, who begged for a cessation of violence in the Iran war. Was it Israel? Was it the U.S.? Was it Iran? Donald Trump. It was Donald Trump. The United States. Sending intermediaries. Iran says we don't have anything to talk to you about. Analysis. Larry Johnson cuts through the spin. It was Trump's America that begged via intermediaries after starting the war. Iran's blunt reply, we don't have anything to talk to you about, reveals who actually held the stronger hand. The segment exposes the gap between public bluster and private desperation. Takeaway. The side that starts the war is rarely the side that ends it on its own terms. What if the beggar was the one who claimed victory? Call to action. Follow for more unfiltered breakdowns like this. Hit subscribe and never miss the truth behind the headlines.
Waking Iran from its slumber, or bringing it out of the wilderness. Iran, over the last 46 years, I suppose, Iran could have at some point tried to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, but that would have been seen as an act of unilateral aggression. That would have been seen as something completely unjustified. But when the United States and Israel launched that surprise murderous attack on Iran on February 28th, all of a sudden, now Iran was justified in defending itself, and they went for the economic juggler of the world, which we really didn't realize how important the Strait of Hormuz is. Now, there are Trump is involved with massive market manipulation, or people behind Trump, and so when he starts talking, we've got a ceasefire, this is going forward. You saw the Dow then $1,400 up, and 10-20% drop in the price of oil futures. Well, that's not going to last. Because this ceasefire is not going to last, because the Iranians are not going to back out. They are not defeated. They have won. It's just the United States doesn't want to concede that it is lost. And so they continue to say, oh, well, we've destroyed all their Air Force. We've destroyed all their Navy. They're not going to be, they won't be rebuilding for centuries. Such abject stupidity coming out of the White House. And it's compounded by just the crazy tweets or the true social messages that Trump continues to post that are, they're like the ravings of a lunatic.
When the United States and Israel launched that surprise murderous attack on Iran on February 28th, all of a sudden now Iran was justified in defending itself. They went for the economic juggler of the world, the Strait of Hormuz. Analysis. Larry nails the turning point. The surprise murderous attack gave Iran moral and legal cover to seize the economic juggler, the Strait of Hormuz. What was once unthinkable, unilateral closure, became justified self-defense. Trump's team now lives in an alternate universe, claiming victory while Iran controls the choke point. Takeaway: attacking a nation can awaken it and hand it the very weapon you feared. How long can a superpower pretend it didn't lose?
They've agreed to meet in Islamabad starting Friday, April 10th. Now, what we also don't know, and my advice to the Iranians would be to tell the United States, if we're going to meet face to face, and the lead, we'll meet with J.D. Vance, but nobody else. If they go back to this format where they are in separate rooms and they talk to the Pakistanis, and then the Pakistanis walk next door and talk to the Americans, and then the Pakistanis walk back and talk to the Iranians. No, that's ridiculous. That's not even worthy of anyone's time for a genuine negotiation. But Iran, those 10 points that Iran laid out, those were not items that would be negotiable. In other words, they're not saying, okay, well, we're going to keep control of the Strait of Hormuz, but we'll negotiate about it instead of we'll release our control. No, they're not giving up control. That's this, the days it's like there was a time when the nightclub never had a doorman and you didn't have to pay a cover charge to get in. There's now a doorman and a cover charge. You want to get into the Persian Gulf, pay the cover charge. You want to come out, pay the cover charge. Otherwise, don't go. And I just saw a news flash that Iran now has completely closed the strait as we speak because of Israel's continuing attacks on Lebanon.
Well,
Iran was very clear. These 10 items, we're going to continue to control the Strait of Hormuz. We're not giving that up. The concluding line, either a ceasefire on all fronts or no ceasefire at all. Analysis, Iran laid down 10 items that are not up for discussion. Continued control of the Strait of Hormuz, no surrender of enrichment or missiles, and the ironclad demand, either a ceasefire on all fronts or no ceasefire at all. The doorman and cover charge metaphor shows Iran now owns the Persian Gulf toll booth. Takeaway, when a weaker power dictates terms after being attacked, the stronger power has already lost. What if the real winner just rewrote the rules? Follow for more unfiltered breakdowns like this. Hit subscribe and never miss the truth behind the headlines.
Cut out, and Trump was potentially distancing himself from them. So they absolutely saw this as holy smokes. How could he do this? Now, that said, the counterattack is just beginning. That the Zionist lobby is just going to be going. They're in a frenzy of putting pressure on Trump, and Trump is really he's caught between the proverbial dog and the fire plug. There's no place for him to hide. He's catching it from both sides. You saw Tucker Carlson just did a remarkable, amazing takedown of Trump's attack on Christianity and his violation of fundamental Christian tenets, and talking about destroying Iran. And in response to that, Trump viciously attacked Tucker as being low IQ and stupid. Yeah, come on. Trump, look in the mirror, man. You're talking about yourself. But when you got people like Tucker Carlson now, who had been ardent campaigners for Trump, coming out like this, Trump's losing it. And the support among the Zionists, while it's financially lucrative, it is politically toxic.
Yeah.
Up and start attacking in earnest against Trump. And here's Iran saying, "Hey, we agreed to a total ceasefire. If you're saying you're going to allow the Zionists to continue to kill the people of Lebanon, sorry, then we're not signing up for that, and stand by for more incoming." The Houthis have already said they're going to continue to fire missiles into Israel as long as they're attacking Lebanon. So, yeah, this market manipulation play where, we got pieces at hand, so stock market goes up, oil prices fall. Again, there are people behind the scenes that are manipulating, that are making money off of this because they have an idea of what's coming. They know that it's not a real, genuine ceasefire.
How miserable do you think Netanyahu and Smotrich and Ben-Gvir were when they woke up this morning? They realized they had been cut out and Trump was potentially distancing himself from them. Tucker Carlson just did a remarkable takedown. Analysis, the segment captures the panic. Netanyahu's inner circle woke up, terrified, realizing Trump had sidelined them. The Zionist lobby is now in a frenzy, while Tucker Carlson's attack on Trump's violation of fundamental Christian tenets shows even former allies turning. Mark Levin was subdued, hit upside the head with a 2x4. Takeaway, betrayal cuts both ways. Today's kingmakers can become tomorrow's liabilities. Who gets abandoned first when the war goes wrong?
In 12 hours, we could see the missile barrages start again. I do know that we are looking at the flow of U.S. Military air traffic to the region. It hasn't stopped. So you got still what I'd call operational buildup. So I think this is just another ploy on the part of the Trump administration, trying to buy some temporary time, trying to get halt the rise in the price of oil and gas in the United States. And it's going to be a temporary relief, but that's all. It's just temporary. I think what we're going to see is the war will continue, and the economic stranglehold that Iran has on the world will continue, and they're going to use it to their advantage to force other countries to come around to isolate Israel, to finally put pressure on Israel that Israel is going to be forced to stop these murderous attacks on its neighbors. And I think 10 of them are now abandoned. So there's still, I believe there's still a U.S. Significant presence at Al Udeid Air Force Base in Qatar. And that's attributable in large measure because the Qataris have been, they've been fairly conciliatory with Iran. So Qatar and Oman, those two are seen as willing to maintain steady relationships with Iran. Emirates, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Saudis, and Bahrain. The base at Bahrain, it's gone. Emirate, I don't think there are any active bases remaining in the Emirates either. They've been attacked. The United States still has some presence at, I believe, at Prince Saud, just outside of Riyadh, but they have been shifting more to a farther base. Was it King? I forget the name of him. It's farther west in Saudi Arabia, and then they're still at Mawafik Salti in Jordan. So this thing could kick off again. I do believe I'm told that the U.S. Senior U.S. military leaders, they've been telling their people prepare for a long war, and they're talking 2 years.
Wow.
How long will it be before hostilities resume? Within 12 hours, we could see the missile barges start again. This is just another ploy, trying to halt the rise in the price of oil. Analysis, Larry's blunt timeline, within 12 hours, and the continued U.S. military air traffic prove the ceasefire is theater. Iran's threat to keep the strait closed over Lebanon and Gaza means the economic stranglehold stays. U.S. bases are already being abandoned. Senior officers are preparing for a long war through 2028. Takeaway: temporary market pumps cannot hide permanent strategic defeat. What if the war never really stopped? Follow for more unfiltered breakdowns like this. Hit subscribe and never miss the truth behind the headlines.
At least the version I saw said nothing about the enrichment of uranium and said nothing about ballistic missiles. That was all off. So that was not even an item for discussion, according from the standpoint of Iran. So the Iranians are content that they genuinely believe that they have largely destroyed the U.S. military infrastructure in the region. That's true. We used to have the Fifth Fleet there in Bahrain. It's not going to be there anymore. Now the U.S. may try to negotiate with Oman to establish a base on the Arabian Sea, so outside of the Persian Gulf. But for right now, the United States doesn't have an effective naval base in the region. Some of the Army bases that were there that have been used as assembly points, particularly up in Kuwait, used as assembly points when we invaded Iraq back in 2003. Those are shut down. So I think the U.S. military planners are looking. They're going to have to draw back to try to go to Jordan, maybe some spots in Israel and at Incirlik in Turkey.
The 10 points withdrawal of U.S. military, lifting of sanctions immediately retain control of the Strait of Hormuz, $96 billion a year from those fees. Nothing about the enrichment of uranium and nothing about ballistic missiles. Analysis, Iran's list is crystal clear: immediate withdrawal of U.S. military, lifting of sanctions, permanent control of the Strait of Hormuz, worth $96 billion a year, and zero concessions on enrichment or missiles. Trump's tweet claiming no enrichment and remove all the deeply buried sites is pure invention. Nobody proofreads these things. Takeaway: the victor writes the terms, and the loser writes tweets. Can you negotiate when the other side already owns the battlefield?
We went into Afghanistan in 2001 in the immediate aftermath of the attacks on 9/11. The sort of immediate objective was to capture bin Laden, but the next thing you know, we're involved and embroiled in some sort of regime change for 20 years and failed. The same thing with Iraq. When we invaded Iraq in 2003, it was, okay, we're going to get rid of Saddam. Then what? Oh, it will, and believe me, this happened. It'll take care of itself. Don't worry. I know from a friend who was involved in 2006 when there were plans drawn up then to invade Iran and to overthrow the regime, the Islamic Republic in 2006. And my friend, again, he asked, okay, so we take him out, then what? And the answer was, no, don't worry about it. It'll work itself out. That's what happened here. They were convinced that all we got to do is we kill the top level guys, and then the people will rise up and we'll have a genuine democratic republic, and we'll put the Shah in.
Wow.
And that, I mean, it really is. The lack of planning in that regard is what's there's no strategic planning. The military does a good job at some of the tactical planning, and we saw that with the rescue effort of that one pilot. But sit down and calculate the cost of that. We lost $480 million worth of planes in trying to recover that one man. And I'm not saying he wasn't worth it, but that is the largest loss of aircraft in a single day, or in let's call it a 36-hour period, since the Vietnam War. Okay, so this notion that, boy, we're kicking ass and taking names and those Iranians are on the run is just delusional. They may blame Hegseth. I don't think this entire operation was not ginned up by Hegseth at all. He was following orders, and he was trusting Trump. And boy, we've learned much to our chagrin. You don't trust Donald Trump. He is not a man of integrity. He is the consummate narcissist that will serve only himself. He never accepts any responsibility for any failure. He always looks to blame someone else. And so in this case, then I think the likely events that are going to unfold is probably by the end of the week, we'll be back at a full-blown United States bombing targets in Iran, continuing to destroy what's left of U.S. military infrastructure in the Persian Gulf, particularly if the United States starts attacking the power centers in Iran, then they're going to turn the lights off in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and the United Arab Emirates in particular.
The point that I'll say about this is the President of the United States has told me, and he's told the entire negotiating team, the Secretary of State, the Special Envoy, Steve Witkoff, he said, go and work in good faith to come to an agreement. That is what he has told us to do. If the Iranians are willing, in good faith, to work with us, I think we can make an agreement. If they're going to lie, if they're going to cheat, if they're going to try to prevent even the fragile truce that we've set up from taking place, then they're not going to be happy. Because what the president has also shown is that we still have clear military, diplomatic, and maybe most importantly, we have extraordinary economic leverage. So the president has told us not to use those tools. He's told us to come to the negotiating table. But if the Iranians don't do the exact same thing, they're going to find out that the president of the United States is not one to mess around. He's impatient. He's impatient to make progress. He has told us to negotiate in good faith. And I think if they negotiate in good faith, we will be able to find a deal. But that's a big if. And ultimately, it's up to the Iranians how.
Second, and the United States launched a surprise attack that killed not only upper leadership, but killed 175 young girls at a school, targeted a school, murdering these young ladies. Shame on JD Vance. I have lost all respect for the man. He's not possessed of the same bizarre personality disorders that afflict Donald Trump. But
isn't it a basic principle of warfare that you don't start a war unless you have clear militarily achievable objectives? 25 years of history showing we do the exact opposite. We lost $480 million worth of planes in trying to recover that one man, exposed the weakness of the American military. Analysis: the host forces the military reality. No clear militarily achievable objectives. Just the same fantasy playbook from Afghanistan, Iraq, and the 2006 Iran plans. It'll work itself out. The staggering cost: $480 million worth of planes in 36 hours. And abandoned bases prove the U.S. has been chased from the region. J.D. Vance's claim of extraordinary economic leverage is laughable when Iran controls the strait. Takeaway: starting wars without a plan is not strategy. It's delusion dressed as leadership. What if the empire's weakness is now impossible to hide? Follow for more unfiltered breakdowns like this. Hit subscribe and never miss the truth behind the headlines. Final overall takeaway: this interview dismantles the official narrative in real time. Undeclared wars, preemptive aggression, and empty victory claims have left America weaker, Iran stronger, and the world watching the Strait of Hormuz decide the next chapter. The age of consequences has arrived. Stay curious. Stay skeptical. Follow for the next layer of truth.